Bertha has spoken. Community dinner, October 21st. A little bit of a logistical November, what was that, November 7th or the 11th? A couple weekends, several Fridays out, there will be no community dinner. I will be at Trevor Hall in Berkeley. And for those of you who know Trevor Hall's work, I have personally met this human being. I've watched him pray on stage. So the community dinner, if you will be me with a bag lunch and a crowd. And we might do a tiny little talk from Berkeley. It just really depends on, if there's a lot of crazy, what shall we say, masking and all that, then I'll definitely have my camera out filming the lunacy. But, I don't know if you guys know, but as far as community dinner, the big news is that the British Medical Journal and the American Medical Association and all the major players of all the archives of medical data have all thrown out the COVID data. It's all out. And we still have the CDC recommending this for children. People, it's time to wake up. Like what we knew 3 years ago, millions of us knew. Now the actual corruption is right there in your face. So, if you were jabbed, don't say to yourself you made a mistake. Just say, hey, I trusted people that used my trust against me. It's a way better position to take, because then you're in a place of power. Like, hey, they used my trust against me. That puts them in a bad place. Bad karma. Bad karma. Because you were trying to help others, right? A lot of these people like, I got the jab to help my community. That's a very honorable reason to do that. I was never going to do it because I knew that it wasn't going to help the community. I knew that was very clear. So tonight I have an extra special. Monica's here with me, and we're going to do an extra special because I have a woman here. It's extra special to talk about Mary Magdalene. Whether she really existed or not doesn't matter to me so much. Just like Castaneda, there's a lot of debate whether his teacher really existed. It doesn't matter, folks. If the lessons are viable for day-to-day life, then the high priestess energy is what I'm going to talk about. Mary Magdalene was not Mary Magdalene. The Magdalene is a title, just like Merlin is a title. You were the king's Merlin, and you would have been the Magdalene, which would have been the high priestess. And she was called a whore by the male priests in their idiotic Bible translation, because one of the things that the high priestesses did was they, quote, fucked the war out of the PTSD men. And that wasn't on the agenda for the beings in control. Liberated men aren't controllable. Liberated sexual women aren't controllable with guilt, fear, any of that bullshit. So you can stick with that. And if you want to learn more, you can go to the Council of Nicaea. Is a good, that's 300 AD, when they decided which was going to be put in the Bible. Out of all the things they found, guess what, folks? There's a gospel of Mary Magdalene. I've seen it. Oh, gee, maybe we should look at that. Like the Gospel of Thomas didn't make it. These great gospels didn't make it. Why? Because it didn't put the Bible in a light that they wanted it in. They wanted you to be controlled. So we're at the very end of that now. The apocalypse and Armageddon is nothing more than the revealing of all that. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of a cycle. The cycle of idiocy and death. The age of Pisces is ending. And so the age of Aquarius, the 60s, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, age of, I used to hear that when I was a kid. My mom would play it, and it's very cute. It is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And this is a cleanse video blog, day 12, combined with community dinner also. So if you're on the cleanse video blog, just keep in mind that, so the big topics tonight: cell cleanse, cell health, related to kind of what we've been talking about as advertised, and this Magdalene energy. So how does cell health tie in with like feminine, you could think feminine archetype, okay, if you think Mary Magdalene. And I bring that up during a cleanse because there's a reason, and we're going to go into that in a minute. It's why I like having a discussion group, Monica. Instead of just, I was telling the recording a couple of weeks ago when no one was here, I was asking myself questions on the recording. But because I could take a Monica, I could have a Monica, you know, devil's advocate over there, and that's kind of what I was doing was, okay, who are my devil's advocates? Okay, and then I put that voice in. Okay, so let's start with the logistics for the cleanse. Today was a much clearer day for me, and if you look at the background here, I've been showing people this. So notice the blurry background. That was Craig on coffee. Blurry awareness, but stimulated. Then day 5 off coffee, this effect is just so obvious. My mind did that. And I was on a lower amount of caffeine, but feeling more stimulated because I was clear about what the caffeine was doing to me, and the coffee stimulation was burning me out and putting me in the, you know, like smoke. It was like my awareness. I was like, and that's what happened to me years ago when I was doing the Kelly Deary, Nicole Young, Elio group, and I was on a tocha or 2 a day, which is 6 grams of black tea, and tea bags are 1 gram of black tea. That's about 40 milligrams of caffeine. So I was doing 1 or 2 tochas a day and drinking pu'er, dark black tea, all day, and wondering why I was so irritable after months of doing it every day. And the reflection from Kelly and Nicole and them was like, you're defensive and you're irritable. So I got off pu'er, and I've never gone back to the degree I was using it, because I believe coffee, when we overuse something, we were talking about this earlier, you know, it's a reverse tolerance. The more you use it, the more it doesn't work. And so for me, there's a lot of reasons why. I won't go into it now, but the coffee high, if you will, is if I do it once a month, it's an 8-hour high of the most productive, happy day I could ever have. But then I chase that. Oh, let's have another cup. Yesterday was so good. And then it's maybe an hour. And then by the 3rd day, it's like 5 or 10 minutes yawning, not feeling. And it's like, nah, future Craig veto now. We had a whole couple of days of just talking about future self veto. So now this morning it came up again, day 14 off coffee, because I started 2 days prior. And I'm like, why? I'm just going to feel like shit. I'm going to have 5 minutes of a couple good sips, and then I'm going to feel like shit and be all buzzy and foggy again. And why do I want to do that? Because I want mouth entertainment? Think about it, folks. Is the mouth entertainment worth 2 days of suffering? No, it's not. Is the morning suffering after 10 tequila shots worth it? You got 3 hours of a good buzz, but then you have an entire morning or an entire half day or a day of miserable suffering. Poor return on investment. Use kratom, use hops, use another herb, you know, but alcohol, maybe not the best idea. So this is Craig showing you guys, oh, we don't want to look at the archangels. We want to look at, the first thing that popped up was the archangels. The 21-day. So I'm on day 12, as you can see here. If you haven't been on any of the video blogs, did I do any of that today? So what were my focus foods? Why am I doing it? What are the challenges and what are the notes? So we're in week 2, and the week 2 sort of focuses kicking out the bad guys. And so let's just go to that real quick for that theme. You can go to the Fall Cleanse Cover Master Sheet in the folder to get access to this. Scroll down. And ways to use our cleanse, it's below that. So the week 1 goal, accelerate detox, loosen stuck matter, moisten, improve digestion. Week 2 goal, accelerate chelation or binding of heavy metals, toxins, and chemicals in dysfunctional biofilm. So you think sponge, week 2, just sponging everything out. And the food list kind of reflective of that. Onions are high soluble fiber. Carrots are high in soluble fiber. Beets are good to dredge up the bile. Cilantro is good to dredge up heavy metals. Chlorella, same. Miso binds with stuff. Garlic binds with stuff. Apples and pears binds with stuff. Eggplant binds with stuff. Chia seeds, seaweeds. So if you eat even 3 or 4 of those during this week, you're thumbs up. And then the after meal seed chews. I gave people a choice of cumin, fennel, or anise. I should be oil pulling. I've only done 2 days of oil pulling, 3 days of dry skin brushing, no enemas. So I haven't done the deep challenges, but if you want to try the challenges, folks, go to the Fall Cleanse challenges right there in that folder. And so you can see week 2 here. Now back to the 21 day. So prunes was a big goal today. Celery, raw liver, and eggs. Couldn't get any of that in today. Oh no, accountability, greens in bulk, and future self veto. So I was talking about the coffee. So I got the future self veto in today. Excellent. Did I get the greens in bulk in today? No. Get the accountability in today? Yes. Did I get the cumin seed chews in today? I got them out. So tomorrow, am I going to fast? If anybody's interested, whether you're on the Telegram group or the email group, or you see this in the social media, if you're interested in fasting, contact me and we'll do it together. Always easier to fast. Like I'm having a hard time doing this on my own. But it's also, I haven't done my blood pressure. So I am not doing any fasting until I do my lying down, standing up blood pressure. And I keep forgetting conveniently. Gee, I wonder why. And then week 3, the theme is, you'll like this, Monica. Week 3, repair old tissue, bring in new microbes, improve communication between systems. So the way this looks on the 21 day then, a little chart here, a lot of silence. Raw sunchoke salad I've never made. So I'm going to buy some sunchokes, Jerusalem artichokes, slice them thin. They've got to be raw. Never, ever cook them. Do not do what happened to this whole household of men. It was the smelliest, grossest house for a few months while we were trying to do vegan baked potatoes, avoiding nightshades with these. And they were delicious, just so delicious. We didn't want to give it up, so we were in denial for a few weeks. It's like, oh, that was so delicious. We'd fry them up like hash browns, and you know, and we're all like, fuck, we need to stop this. So raw sunchoke salad. Notice a cooked onion and carrot soup puree. How is that cleansing? I'll talk about that later on in the week. A water fast, maybe next Saturday, and maybe a water fast for me tomorrow. So watch tomorrow's video blog. I have committed once to doing my blood pressure, and I didn't keep my word, so I'm re-upping my word. I'm going to do my blood pressure tomorrow morning. And those of you holding me accountable can do so. Now I'm going to get it done. I need to do this because I want to do an enema too. So a fasting day, I have October 15th was a typical fasting day that I put in here. And then the typical fasting day is here. So it kind of tells you what I'm doing on the day I'm fasting, or at least ideally. What's the type of rest I'm going to have? What little bit of activity will I have? And what's the orientation for that hour? You'll like this too, Monica. So like at 8 a.m., an elevating talk. Listen, I'm going to listen to an elevating talk, a podcast for an hour. I'm going to lie down, the type of rest. I'm going to lie down with my mat and my HHO machine hooked up to me. And then my orientation is fill up on inspiration as fuel. And then, for example, at 11 a.m., I'm going to take a nap. The type of rest is lying cozy. The orientation is self-hug, falling into soft arms. Good reminder, right?
Or angel wings.
Angel wings are good too.
I love falling into angel wings and feeling that my covers are angel wings.
Great. If you didn't hear that, folks, falling into angel wings is another nice one that Monica likes. If you never got access to this and you're late seeing this, this is my personal cleanse schedule. Every client gets a page like this in my system. And so, you know, it's like, what do you take? When do you take it? And what are the notes? So this is my very aggressive cleanse schedule. And a lot of people wouldn't want to do this many things, but I'm a human test tube, so you don't have to be. And so there's that, and that's accessible from the Fall Cleanse master page. It's right there, Falling into Health Cleanse Supplements. We got that out of the way. So we have a little bit more of this cell conversation. We're going to do lots more of this tomorrow. I keep dragging this on, but you know, it's partially marketing, you know that, folks. Gotta keep you all interested. But there's this relationship of histamine, allergies, and hydration, and also osteoporosis. So hang in there tomorrow for that. So Magdalene. So I guess the first question would be, why would Craig even bring in the high priestess energy, Mary Magdalene, with a cleanse. How does this fit in with the season, the fall also? So you might start in with, what is this, a yang or a yin season?
Yin. Nope. It's a 50-50.
Well, it is correct. You could argue that point.
Since it seems like it's going down.
It's yin because there's more darkness.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But it's yang because it's dry here on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
If we had early season rain, so September, October, November are the most vata months of the year, more into November, if it doesn't rain, because it's dry. And dryness causes vata derangement in Ayurveda, which is vata is yang.
I didn't realize that. Vata's yang.
Because it's air. Vata's air, yeah. Pitta's fire. That's also yang. And then kapha's yin because it's earth and water.
Wow.
Vata air, pitta fire, kapha air, earth and water. So you see, so in the yang season, you want yin energy. And so Magdalene came to me as a man who has a lot of warrior archetype. You're sort of looking at a tired warrior. And in the past, what I used to do is lean on the idea that a woman would save me. And if I have a partner, she'll nurture me and, I'll fall into her lovely arms. And that's still with me. But I look at, what was his name? We saw the movie together, Song of the New Earth. I forgot that guy's name. But he also has a book about Mary Magdalene. Him and his wife channeled. And I was looking at that going, wow. And so they gave her a different take. And another good book, the Holy Blood, Holy Grail book, which became Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. That book also frames Mary Magdalene in a way different light. According to that book, Jesus's crucifixion may have been a farce. He may not have actually have died. They may have drugged him to make him look dead with herbs. They took him off the cross, Joseph of Arimathea. And then the reason why he disappeared from the cave is because they took him away. And him and Mary went off to the south of France and had a child named Sarah. And then the Merovingian kingdom, about a couple centuries later, emerged. And then the church went in and wiped out all the Merovingians. Quite fascinating. So their argument is that they found out that Sarah had had children and that the bloodline of Jesus was in the south of France. And the Grail was working its way through France up into Scotland, apparently also.
So there's a whole theory that the Grail was Magdalene.
That's another part of it. Yes, the blood of Magdalene was the Grail.
And the uterus.
The uterus, right. I would go with that. I'm happy to go with that.
Made sense.
So I'm bringing this in because, in a nutshell, tired warrior, yang. Magdalene was, from the data I've gotten, the Magdalene was a therapist for the men who came back, maybe women too, that came back from the war with PTSD. And Tantra and lovemaking, is a way for someone to relax. And the frame that keeps coming in for me, I make people laugh about this, but if you look up the Bonobo, Bonobo monkey story about this, they're quite sexual monkeys, I found out. But when a male gets kind of ape shit and running around and harassing everybody, two female monkeys grab him and have sex with him, and then he's not a jerk anymore. And to my point, you have men in the military purposely gaslit. Oh, you're going to serve freedom. You're going to serve democracy. Their heart gets broken while they're in there. Unanimous. Every veteran I've talked to finds this out. There's a few that don't, but oh my God, I wanted to serve the ideals of democracy, but I'm actually serving Satan. And that breaks your heart. It tears your heart open. And so that's where I think a lot of armies over the millennia, that's what you find out. It's like, oh, I thought I was serving, blah, blah, blah. And then you get your heart broken. Until you actually kill something, you got no idea.
Yeah.
I have killed. I've looked a gopher in the eye and smashed its skull in. And A lady I was talking to yesterday, a friend of mine in Hawaii, I won't mention her name, but you know, my new friend, she killed a pig yesterday.
Wow.
First time she'd ever killed an animal. She said, looked it in the eyes and
Wow.
blessed it. And it was a whole day ceremony. And then it came time and she was the one, it's her land. But the pigs are a problem in Hawaii.
Mm.
So it's not like you're killing a sacred animal because they're all around causing trouble of the landowners. So they're on a pig eradication program and they got to eat it.
Well, I think they're still sacred, but if it's not harming a population, and if you eat it especially, then that does help.
Yeah. So the point was that, you know, she looked this being in the eye and took its life. And until you're in that place, I was telling this client today, a lot of our lives are in concept. I know what it's like to play tennis. No, you don't. Until you're on that court playing tennis, you don't know what it's like. It's a concept. Until you murder another living being, you don't know what it's like. There's nothing you can say. And you can't fake it till you make it. So Mary Magdalene would come in that case and just soothe that person's guilt. Like, it's okay. You know, like you're not a bad person because you killed this pig. Because look at now, the community has, I mean, she gave away the meat and the bones, and you know, everyone's so happy, the whole neighborhood's happy because everybody got some pig meat, right? And they had a big roast, you know, and so imagine, yeah, I got to go into this story. It's a slight digression. So I'll put the picture of Mary up here while I'm telling the story. Have you ever had PTSD, Monica?
Oh yeah.
Okay, see.
All the court stuff.
Okay, so it replays, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like a bad rerun. Oh, it's there again. Oh, it's there again. Oh, it's there again. So I got it from a couple of accidents, and the concussion before I met you was the worst of them all. Maybe the broken neck was worse, but I was out cold during that. But you know, launching in the air, hitting a car going 20 miles an hour and launching into the air. And see, I'm an adrenaline junkie, so that PTSD wasn't so problematic because I like to surf. I like going fast, you know? So I'm meditating a few weeks into this and I'm like, this is not going away. You know, my entire meditation is, you know, and then I'll try and do some mantras and distract myself from it. And then this is why I have a teacher. My teacher pops in and says, oh, why don't you get curious about why it keeps replaying? And I'm like, oh, that's a good thought. You know, I'll lean in a little bit, like, you know, like, what is over there? And then I saw, oh my God, the transpersonal self, which is actually the one that's running things, is fascinated with this experience. I had this, oh my God. And I'm like, so that means it's not going to finish until it's done, until it's satisfied. Because how many times does a human being hit a car going 20 miles an hour and launch 8 feet into the air? It's a fascinating experience if you take away all the morality and judgment and pain, right? And I realized, wow, all I have to do is align myself with that. And the PTSD went away the next day. Just stopped because I leaned in and let myself fill up, or let that part fill up. And then it was gone. Now, let's say you got a rape PTSD. I don't know this would work in that kind of a severe trauma. I don't know. I haven't tried it with somebody, but it would be worth looking at, like just getting a little bit, you know, I don't know how, I mean, okay, I was raped my first sexual experience. I had to lean into that because it could have damaged me my entire life. So it's like, okay, so you can't say to me that I can't say this because I have been raped and I have been betrayed as bad as anyone. So it's like, well, I can lean in this much and I can get facilitation where I'm on the outside looking into the experience as an empowered person, like the uncle or the father, taking the person out of the situation. That's what we do in the men's work. You never facilitate the person back into the disempowered place because they'll replay it. But you can say, okay, uncle was raping son, or uncle was raping young boy. Then you bring in the father and you're role playing the father in a position of power and punch the uncle, punch the uncle and rescue the kid. And then, but is that really going to help in the long run, right? Because I don't know. So the Magdalene energy then would be, you're all right. you can sit with this, you got this. Because you're held. So to me, it's like, it's easier to have acceptance when we feel good in our body, right?
Mhm.
So if, say, I go to the high priestess and I say, look, I just need some healing. And all she does is rub my neck and shoulders and back, and there's no sex or anything involved. That's going to be helpful because I'm more relaxed. Or to my point about caffeine and coffee, that's why the ancients did vision quest, because you get clear, right? I love one of the Castaneda stories. He put him on, Don Juan put him on a cliff, and he made a rock circle, and he says, you're not leaving that rock circle for 36 hours. No water, no food, nothing. I'll be back tomorrow. See ya. He didn't actually leave. He actually hid in the bushes and watched him for 36 hours. But then the young men, they do that often. That you tell the young men they're 12, they send them off. Okay, you're a week, you got to survive. You're on your own. But there's always a man supervising, hidden, and making sure they don't get killed. Not always, but so when you look at something like this, you got to go broad in general, because Magdalene, there's debate about whether she even existed or not. Just like with Jesus, there's not a lot of archaeological evidence. So, I've read 2 books that state that Jesus was a farce. Adyashanti was on this kick years ago, and I read the books, and I was like, yeah, I could see their point. But you got great souls like Yogananda saying stuff about Jesus, and Saint Germain's, and it's like, no, there was a being, Jesus of Nazareth, or two, that was the Christ. His name was not Jesus Christ. He was in the Christ consciousness, just like Magdalene isn't, Mary the Magdalene, whatever, Kevin the Merlin, not Kevin Merlin. Merlin's not a name. Oh, Hollywood there's a movie called Merlin. Yeah. All right. So I bring this up during a cleanse is because the comforting energy of Magdalene helps someone like me probably just feel softer with, limitation. And again, I'm doing the basic food chart, my supplements, and the strict cleanse rules, which is, what am I breaking? Doing some cannabis, doing caffeine, but I haven't done any nuts, and I haven't done any pork.
And those are reducing the caffeine.
And the caffeine's been reduced down. Like today was like my best day in weeks. Yeah, today was my best day in weeks. Just got it way down. And okay, folks, I've been outing myself, so I do have my mate at 8 o'clock at night here, so I'll be up till midnight. It doesn't affect my sleep though. It just keeps me up a little bit later. The kratom's what really. All right. So we're going to move on from Magdalene energy now. Do you have anything you want to add in, insights on Mary Magdalene? Bring in, I'll just repeat for the.
Well, it was so obvious, 12 years of Catholic school, that Jesus married somebody. And it was so obvious that if he married somebody, it was Mary Magdalene. I got in trouble all the time because I was always talking about it. Wedding of Cana. Why would Mary, mother, and Jesus be in charge of the wine if it wasn't his wedding? Come on. And so, and pissed off all the nuns and priests. But it was so awesome that reading the Dan Brown stuff, because it was just so obvious, yeah, I was right. And the importance of being able to see people as people and fallible, and all of the importance of what the feminine figure is. I mean, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is just so annoying to little girls. Like, where's a woman? There's no woman in a trio, really?
Very irritating.
Very irritating. But now to know that the Roman Catholic Church has been the cesspool of all evil all along, hands down, clarified for everyone to see.
Right.
Remember, Katie actually said, Katie Pearson, she went to Rome, and the Vatican's on, oh God, the word's suddenly gone.
It's okay.
The word, oh my God, it's
its own country, really.
It is, but
I'm gonna have to paraphrase it, but let me pause for a second while you're thinking.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna paraphrase. The audio is, I don't have a directional mic, so just in case people didn't hear, Monica was in Catholic school, and she was talking about, she why would in the wedding with
Of Cana.
Cana with Mary and Jesus being responsible for the wine if it wasn't their wedding, was her point. And you know what really irritates me most about the Catholic thing was that you're born broken.
Oh,
You're
God,
born
yeah.
in sin.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, give me a fucking
It's
break.
such garbage. But that was just so they could own you all the more. It's the Vatican's on propaganda way.
Oh, that's what it was. So the
When they
Vatican
made-
is on propaganda way.
That's amazing.
And all these people are starting to talk about, you know, like Klaus Schwab or whatever, he's up there. He's actually Bill Gates are actually telling us the evil they're doing.
Yeah.
And go back and watch the old Batman episodes, the Joker and the Riddler episodes. It's the same thing. They always give Batman a joke or a riddle telling them the crime they're going to commit.
Because they're proud of it. And in law, remember, there has to be a remedy given.
That's right. That's right.
And that remedy includes that there has to be a showing of the ruse. The ruse and the remedy have to be disclosed.
So
Fascinating.
the Georgia Guidestones went down, which I find like, why did they take those down?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the Georgia Guidestones were taken down just recently.
Hmm.
And that's the one where they're in Georgia. And basically the world population is going to be reduced down to like 500,000 is one of the Guidestones guides. And it's all this horrible stuff about how the World Economic Forum is going to take us all out. And then just a few months ago, maybe a month ago, I don't know, maybe somebody in a comment will help me. Because I'm getting more comments on the YouTubes now, is yeah, they were destroyed. It was like wrecking ball destroyed. I saw the videos. I'm like, why now?
Well, possibly if Anna von Reitz really has changed the whole system, she got 150,000 tons of gold released and gave 50,000 tons to Restore Australia and 50,000 tons to go into gold coin mints, getting gold coins getting minted, and 50,000. Okay, we're going to figure out what we do next, and that we have already the gold standard, and the gold standard was restored for Russia.
Because not too far digress, because we're keeping them.
Yeah.
So
but these are all reasons why that could happen.
So we'll take it back to this gold. We've gotten off of, we're on this fiat dollar, which you can print. If you can print money whenever you want, then the value of each unit of currency goes down. That's called inflation. So the remedy for that is gold. And what's gold? Gold is also symbolic of, in the astrology, like the sun is gold. And as you go further away from the sun, like Saturn, its metal is lead. And then you know, copper and brass and whatnot. As you work your way closer to the sun, I think the Venus is silver.
To us is silver. No, it's the moon.
The moon is silver.
The moon is silver, and silver is the official monetary unit for states, nation states.
Okay, so
so
gold to me, when they talk about the alchemist can transform base metals to gold, that's a metaphor in part because gold means the present moment awareness of the beating heart. Okay. So I tell people, I just told a young man this the other day, I go, to be quite honest, I joined into yoga and meditation in part because I had seen Star Wars and I wanted to bend people with my will. I wanted to levitate. I wanted to feel better. But the young man who chose those things wanting, you know, outcome for the enlightenment he was seeking. So if you seek to make gold from base metals, then in the process of being able to do so, the being that wanted it in the first place is the one that gets transformed by the time that you can make gold from lead. The person who wanted it in the first place is now gone and transformed. That's what I saw in my own journey over 25 years. Like, I don't give a fuck about all that other stuff anymore. Because that's the bait. Adyashanti calls it the bait and switch. A spirituality. Oh, have a spiritual awakening and you'll have all this joy in your life. But they don't sell you the other side of it, which is you got to give up your agenda. You want your freedom? Great. Free everyone else from you. See, that's where people get stuck. That's one of the stuck places. So if you look at the feminine, then the feminine's like flow and the masculine sort of like, I got a plan. And sometimes a plan doesn't flow. And so you need the spontaneity of the feminine because the masculine is the plan. And men, not men and women. You get really careful with these woke people, you know, it's masculine, feminine archetypes. All right. So, and this also ties in with the cell because the cell in the middle of the cell. Oh, now I get to show, you might want to come over this for a second, Monica. I'm going to do a whiteboard share to show you guys how the Mary Magdalene looks at the cell level. And it's just so, and you guys hate it when I do the freehand, but we'll just say this is the nucleus in the middle for the DNA. And then let's do blue for the membrane. So there's the outer membrane of the cell. And we need to cover up the DNA with something. So here's your nucleus. So around there, there's your nucleus. And then let's make a mitochondria. We'll do that in orange. We'll do a little lightning bolt. There's a mitochondria. And by the way, physiology is bullshit. There isn't one mitochondria in cells. There can be up to 20,000 mitochondria in one heart cell, brain cell, whatnot. So the more metabolically active cells have more mitochondria. And so the mitochondria, see, that's making fire. It's making fire, which, oh, it's hard to read that. Put that in black. It's making fire, which is yang, and that's from O2 and iron, which is Fe. So those two elements then are at the center of, it's like you've got a furnace, right? You got this fireplace and you throw a lot of logs in and then the fire starts going. But what happens if you don't have enough bricks around your fireplace and the fire gets too hot? It starts to melt stuff around it, right? So the melting in the human body then is called this: free radicals. Oxidative, oxidative stress. And then Morley, the great Morley Robbins over at the Root Cause Protocol. This is the RCP. I'm going to mention Morley, R-O-B-B-I-N. And so the control elements, they talk about the control or the Magdalene or the yin, Magdalene yin elements. So what controls fire? Water controls fire. So, okay. So guess what? The two elements that control this metabolism here at the middle, let's do back to, let's go purple. So around this guy, so you've got fire and yang, the body's harvesting. So ATP means adenosine triphosphate. Oh, phosphorus is a hot molecule. So you use mag and copper are the Magdalene control water, control fire with water elements. I'm bringing it in another frame, Monica, so you can see, like, without those control elements, then we can go back to the orange now. And this fire, oops, sorry, this fire starts, I wanted that in orange, darn it. Orange. There you go. So this fire starts to burn out here, see? And then it starts to go out of the mitochondria, and then it starts to cause damage, and then even the cell membrane can become damaged. And then guess what the body makes with the damaged cell membrane? Cholesterol. And there's your cholesterol stuff. So in a cleanse, then how do you know about this stuff is your tongue will get very red, your skin might get really dry. When iron and oxygen are burning out of control, you could have really bad heat symptoms. So you could even have a fever. So what I'm looking at in terms of a cleanse like this is I don't want too many spicy foods and salty foods and sour foods. Those are all heating.
Sour's heating. Oh.
Well, sour is earth and fire. And so salt is water and fire.
Right.
And then spicy is fire and air. So that's why the Ayurvedics are kind of down on fermented foods, is because they're trying to keep the fire. But the Ayurvedics, I'm sorry, Ayurvedic doctors, you're out of your mind. Sauerkraut is not something to avoid. And ferments too. You have this blanket Ayurvedic statement. Don't do ferments. Yes, in 100-degree India climate, sure. West Coast California, 65 degrees right now. You need the fire, folks. So you use the rules of Ayurveda, you use the rules of Chinese medicine, you use the rules of Greek medicine, Native American medicine for the environment you're in. You don't get stuck in the dogma.
Because you don't always live in India.
Right. So there's a reason why the Vedic recommendations are the way they are, is because a lot of India is a very hot climate. Now, if you're up in the mountains of India, much different climate, much different. So I'll save that. It was kind of a cool little drawing there, but so you see, then on the cell level, and okay, then you could also say, okay, what are the foods I can eat, Craig? Okay, magnesium is at the center of the chlorophyll molecule.
That's got to be a Magdalene magnesium.
Magnesium, Magdalene. So eat green foods, raw green juices, wheatgrass juices, chlorophyll, anything with green, you get your magnesium. And that's a better form of magnesium. Ocean water too, purified ocean water is another one. That's Premier Research Labs, pH minerals. And then finally, how do we get copper? Well, zinc and copper have a relationship. So if you're taking zinc without copper, you're screwing up your mitochondria in the long run. So that's liver, especially beef liver. That's shellfish. That's nuts and seeds. And, you know, as far as high levels, that's about it. Morley has a new copper supplement. It's not necessarily food-based, but he spent about 2 years making it, and I'm going to order one and take it just to see. Because, so I'm going to off-screen share, and we're just going to buttoning this up. So I stopped selling iron supplements because of what I've been reading. Our body only needs a milligram of iron a day. And most supplements, like even my famous Min product from Systemic Formulas, I'm weeding that one out now because there's like 10 milligrams per serving of iron. Why? You don't need that much.
And you'd get it instead again from liver, and the iron, you want it from where?
So that's why I have the Mag SRT up there. So I'm selling magnesium. The Systemic Formulas Min, I called their formulators last year when I got this root cause protocol, and I said, hey, we need you guys to take the iron out of this, because this is a brilliant product outside of the iron. They've got the zinc and copper in it, and they add extra zinc and copper in it. So it's like, great, you got the ratio down, but get the iron out. That's Chesin from Standard Process. Keysin is the food-based iron, zinc, and copper. They used to do it from liver. Now they do it from rice protein. So I don't even really carry it much anymore. Chesin. And so if you only need a milligram of iron a day, that means, you know, whatever meat you're eating or whatever protein rich foods, generally where the iron comes from, but green leafies have iron too. And red food, so beets, anything red is going to have some iron associated with it. So if you do green juices and liver, you're set. That'll change and that's the root cause protocol. So the first thing they want you to do is eating liver. So you could say, Craig, I won't eat liver. Okay, then there's ancestral supplements. You can go to my website to Full Script and go to check out liver on my Full Script thing. You can buy Standard Process supplements. There's ways to get liver raw, and you just take it in the pill form and pay more money. You know?
Or like you said, freeze little cubes of it and take it like a pill.
Oh, by the way, I have that right here. So this is what we have, a piece of liver right here, folks. So, but Monica's talking about, see, that's about the size of my fingernail. And one of my clients, he is cured of his Lyme symptoms when he eats raw liver. Cooked liver, no, doesn't work. Other meats, no, it doesn't work.
Just a small amount per meal. That's what's so interesting. It's like a pill size per meal.
So what he does is he freezes the liver and then thaws it just a little bit so he can cut it. And he cuts it in, like Monica was saying, these little tiny cubes. And he literally takes them out of the freezer, you know, enough that he wants to eat, lets them thaw a little bit, and he just pops them and
Washes them with what?
I think he just pops them and swallows them like pills. but they got to thaw out a little bit. I told them, don't swallow them frozen. That's terrible for your stomach.
Mhm.
So I'm marinating mine. So my way is I slice it thin, and like these right now, we're marinated in salt, lemon, fish sauce, and teriyaki sauce, basically.
Delicious.
Monica ate it. I ate it.
Delicious.
Um,
and eating raw liver is like eating sushi. There's nothing offensive about it. People should try it. Just with the good pearl of the ocean salt, it's completely delicious.
Some people soak it in raw milk. Some people soak it in yogurt overnight. There's lots of, to me, I tried US Wellness Meats, and I expect to commission US Wellness Meats for that plug. And I just took a gamble. I tried their lamb liver, and I thought lamb's usually pretty strong, so the liver could be really strong. The lamb liver is the most neutral flavor. I've tried beef, water buffalo, chicken, and lamb now. And out of those four, the lamb was by far the most mild.
Deer is mild too.
Deer was mild. And folks, the argument is the liver's not a big filtering machine, okay? The liver is a transformation machine, just like seaweed is in the ocean. Seaweed transforms radiation, transforms stuff. It's a bioremediator. The liver is our bioremediator in our body. And that's why you can eat liver, because it's not full of toxins. Now, you're eating a liver of an animal being fed hormones and antibiotics and not living a healthy life. That liver is probably not something you want to eat. I did buy a liver from Deluxe Foods down the street here. It was just USDA. And I was too lazy to go across town. So I thought, give me a pound of that. I'll just try it.
Did you do any body testing?
Yeah, I was in there. I was looking at it and it looked great, smelled great, took it home, definitely self-muscle tested. And I think Deluxe has got a good source. And I asked him, I go, do you think it's organic? And he goes, well, I'm always a fan of, you don't have to be certified organic in my world, because the USDA is a bunch of bullshit. I know a lot of farmers that aren't certified organic, but they're doing organic. Right. Like Lowell's that way. Yeah. Lowell's like, F you, I don't need your piece of paper. So it is okay to buy non-organic food. You just have to vet the farmer. And that's what most of us do around here. We just vet our farmers. And we have an 80-year-old farmer in our group, Lowell Webb. And really just thumbs up to Lowell Webb, one of the best farmers I've ever known. All right, did we get all this covered now? Let's see. Oh, there was one other thing on the screen share. To finish off our cell conversation. All right, here we go, folks. So this is the cell owner's manual, and it's really, I'm going to repeat, cell membrane power production. See, you've got to have the right fats. There's that pH differential, Monica. And you got to have the raw materials. And most people aren't eating the right fats. And I had a guy today, his urine pH was 8 in a lab test. 8. It's supposed to be 6.5. Yeah. So you really want to make it, and you got the right raw materials. And the raw materials for the cell are protein, fat, and cholesterol. It's not carbs. So that's why this is up here. And then the other one is, this is how the body actually works. So the cell has to shit somewhere, just like we have to go to the bathroom, right? Well, the cell has to go to the bathroom too. And that's what's shown on, you'll like this slide, Monica. This is there it is. So healthy cell on the left, constipated cell on the right. See, it can't shit and nutrients aren't going in. So the cell starts to sort of, not repairing well. And then you end up with a constipated cell and you end up with problems, right? So that's what we're looking at here is the cell shits into the plasma and the lymph. And then it goes to a filter, might be a lymph node or something. And then it's transformed. And then it goes, eventually, it's got to work its way into a spleen or a liver or transform somewhere. And that's, we're talking about the drainage route here. Okay. That's why this slide is up, is the cell. So if you have lymphatic problems, like your breasts get swollen, underarms swollen, chronic sore throats, headaches, you might consider that your lymph is clogged, and that means your cell shit isn't leaving your body, and there's your viral problems. If your cells are constipated and you have wrong-handed molecules, so when you buy L-tryptophan, there's also a D-tryptophan. Anything made synthetically has the wrong isomer in it. It's God's trump card, so we don't go into synthetic land too long, too far. And these wrong-handed molecules cannot be used by the body. So guess what? When you start throwing stuff into a fluid stream, it makes the fluid stream thicker. When you throw dirt into water, it makes it thick. When you throw these D isomers, so if you've got synthetic supplements, synthetic deodorant, GMO foods, fake injections, they're all wrong-handed molecules. And when they talk about these exosomes, well, the cell has to shit. And if the cell can't shit, it either becomes a cancer cell or it dies. And if you got a lot of dead cells cruising around in these D isomers, you have a very clogged up fluid stream. And you see how simple that is, folks? It's just, that's the way it is. And then I believe with the weird aberrant frequencies around us that, yeah, the aberrant frequencies causes all these random toxins in our body to turn into Franken molecules. It's a theory I'm running.
I remember.
All right, so there's that.
All the EMFs too.
Right, and James has been talking about that forever, right? So this is my cell to anus detox. We did a little bit of this last night. And yes, it is true. So you want to get stuff into the cell and out. And if your tongue is swollen, it's another idea. Anything that's swollen, you want to look at maybe you're constipated in the cell a little bit. And yes, you can have normal bowel movements and still be constipated. That's another lecture. So there's what your cell membrane looks like. And there's what it is. So you take fuel in to make energy, we just talked about, but you want the energy to have minimal waste. And then you got to get your waste out through your air filter, which is your lungs, your water filter, which is your kidney, your skin, your spleen is your blood filter, and your liver is your oil filter. They're not really filters, but it's a conceptual model. So your skin becomes a problem if you can't breathe out your toxins and you can't poop them out and pee them out, then the skin becomes a secondary detox organ. So that's why people get symptoms and during a cleanse is because their drainage pathways, which is my foundation 4, you can't drain it out fast enough, and then things build up. And that's a classic healing crisis, we call that. See how the body cleanses itself. See, I'm not going to read all this. You can pause this. And bowel transit time is 24 hours. So if you have 3 meals a day, what does that mean? You should have 3 bowel movements the next day. Most people only have 1 bowel movement the next day. That means there's 2 bowel movements a day backing up in there. Not good. See, the lymphatic system is the body's sewer. It even says it right here from another source. So you want your cell to poop and make it to the anus. That's why it's called cell to anus detox. And then there's a few ideas here on the bottom, a few suggestions. So we don't want to leave you with a complaint without a solution. So the basics are radishes and beets are very good drainage. Coffee enemas are great. And then I have a whole worksheet here. Just if you're watching the video, just pause for a minute and you can take screenshots. See, I have a raw radish, an onion and beet salad. So there's just some basic recommendations here for drainage if you're doing a cleanse. And the kale one's pretty good too. Kale, green apple, ginger, celery, carrots, a pretty good one. Pretty good stuff. You want, if you're trying to lose weight, no fruit. Use cucumber instead. If you're trying to lose weight, fruit does not encourage weight loss. So for people that want to gain weight and they're cleansing, have lots of fruit. That's the good news. And I believe we're going to go off screen share, and we were less than an hour. If you have any questions on your journey, see, I'm on day 12 of 21. I had 1 piece of sourdough bread. There was a story about that. And let's see, what's the other? What else did I break it with? Well, I am using cannabis, so that's definitely not cleanse worthy.
In coffee.
No coffee.
Caffeine red.
The caffeine, yeah. And caffeine does slow detox. Why? Because it's a plant poison. A lot of lectures I've had about that. So if you have any questions, just, YouTube channel's great. I've got a new phone system, so got that all worked out. Love my VoIP system. And look forward to seeing you guys on tomorrow's video blog. We're going to go back to sorry, but if you've been waiting for it, the hydration, histamine, and cell health talk will be tomorrow. Thank you so much, folks.